A case management system built on top of Salesforce and TerraWorks will give you the visibility on your customers who have been served and how well they have been served. To demonstrate this, I'm going to just go through to a dashboard that we set up for today's demo. And some of the information or data on your fingertips that you expect to get from setting up a case management system will be like, what are the current open cases? So for example, in this demo, we have 10 cases this month, but also you can go a step further, like in this first chart, where we can see open cases by technician. So we can see we have 2 technicians, a solar technician and a tank technician. And even at a third level, you can also check at the status of those cases. So by default, in standard case object, a case can be new, it can be closed, it can be escalated, or it can be on hold. So this first chart gives us the various status of the cases per technician. You can also get information regarding what is the average time it takes to resolve cases. And this is important because if you have signed standard level agreements with your customers, or just as an internal policy of what's the turnaround time you expect cases to be resolved, a chart like this can give you a snapshot on what is the average time that it's taking to resolve cases, and you can see how well you're doing and the adjustments need to be done. Another chart that we've pulled out is a chart on average time to resolve cases by technician. So this can be used to measure technicians' efficiencies and also maybe issues that they might be facing in the field, maybe getting parts on time, etc. Another thing can be, another data that you can pull out can be cases by product, just looking at which products are bringing in the most cases, and that can be interesting data that you can share with your suppliers or manufacturers on some of the cases that you're seeing in this product. And you can drill down a step further and actually see the parts of those products that are bringing issues. Then the last chart that I have here is cases by company or by customer. This just gives you a high-level overview of the customers that have been served and how many cases per customer they currently have. This can be important in terms of maybe you might need to retrain some of your customers on how to use your product, or it can also be an opportunity to upsell a premium support package if they need assistance in handling or setting up the products that you're distributing to them. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. You can create as many reports and charts as you like in line with your business processes to give you those key business decision-making data. So in our presentation today, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a quick demo on creating a case via TerraWorks. Then this case will be synced to Salesforce, where it will be assigned to a technician. And then we'll also demo another job where the technician now comes and updates the case. So either they come and resolve the issue and closes the case, or at least give more information regarding that particular case. I'll take you through how to configure the jobs and forms for this. And in doing so, we will look at drill-down hierarchy filters. We will look at images in the drill-down hierarchy as the image you can see on your screen right now. And also we'll look at click to call. Then lastly, we'll look at case assignment. So for this demo, we have a fictitious company called Aquacomb. Most of you might be familiar with this instance. We've used it before. And this is how our case management flow looks like. So first, the field officer reports customer issue from the field. So the assumption here is either the customer called the field officer, and then now they will go to TerraWorks and log this issue. And after that, the case is synced to Salesforce by the field officer. Then the third step is the case is automatically assigned to technician. So a case can be manually or automatically assigned to a technician. For this demo, we've set up a simple automation to show you how you can automate the process of assigning the case to a technician. And then the fourth step is the technician receives and updates this case. For the demo, we have these personas. So on the very left, we have our customer, who is the person experiencing the challenge. Then the customer will call the field officer. The field officer is a TeraWorks user, so who log into TeraWorks and log the case. Then once they sync, it will go to Salesforce, here represented by the administrator, who can be you. And if it's a manual case assignment, then the administrator can assign the cases manually, or like in this demo where it's automated, then based on some parameters in the case, this will be assigned to either the solar technician or the tank technician. So as we do this, you can be thinking of some of the application or use cases that you want to apply TeraWorks in your case management process. So I will jump to the demo, and for the demo, I'm going to use a TeamViewer that is linked to my phone. So here in TeamViewer, I have TeraWorks, and at the top right, you can see I'm logged in as the officer. So I will go to jobs, and for me as a field officer, I have only one job, which is to log a new case. So I'll go ahead to that job, start the job. So the branch that I have been assigned for this demo is Busia branch. And under Busia branch, I have these customers. So if you have passed down the geolocation field for these customers, you will see on top this view all records on map. We'll go ahead and select one of these customers. So I'll go ahead and select Isaac. And so on this page, I have information regarding Isaac. If and this information can be useful. So for example, for the technician, when they're now in the field and they want to locate the customer or call the customer, so they can come next to the mobile phone, you can see this has been highlighted. And this is a feature that was released a few months ago that allows you to call that directly from Salesforce. So even now as a field officer, maybe the information I received, I want to get clarification. I can go ahead and tap on the phone number. It will load on your phone app, and then you can call with a job. Another thing that you can do here, and this, for example, for the technician, once they come to, when they're trying to solve the issue, they can use the view record on map feature. So this will be visible if the geolocation has been passed down in the job drill down hierarchy, which I'll show you how to do it in configuring the job. So here I'll go ahead and view the record on map. And what this does, it loads maps.me, which is an offline map app. If you don't have it installed in your mobile users' phones or tablets, they will get a prompt to download this. So here we can see where our user Isaac Castro is located. I can go a step further and actually click on route to, that can give you instructions, either walking instructions or driving instructions. So you can see the different modes of transport on top on how I can get to this customer. So this will be useful for the technician when the technician comes and the technician wants to locate the customer. Then once the technician arrives at the customer site, we have the photo of the customer where the technician can verify, okay, is this the right customer of the case that I should be dealing with? And I've just tapped on the image. So right now there is a thumbnail. And when you click on the image, you get a bigger picture. You can set the quality and the size of the image, and I'll show you how to do that. So going back to the field officer persona, I'll go ahead and log a case. So I'll click on next. And then the form loads. So the name of the customer is pre-populated in the form. Then these are some of the questions that are some of the fields that are there in the standard Salesforce case object. So one of them is, what is the type of case? Is it a problem? Is it a question? So in instance, we'll say it's a problem. Then case subject is a required field. So in our case, we can see that the solar lamp stopped working. Then I created additional fields for product and for part. So here you get to select what is a product. I'm going to select solar lamp, and then it will also show you the parts available for that, the parts predefined for that particular product. So here I will say the issue is with the battery based on the information that the customer has given me. And this information the customer gave me was initially the solar lamp could keep 12 hours of charge, and now it barely keeps, say, 5 minutes. So chances are maybe the issue might be with the battery or the battery system. So I'll click next, and then the next question here is to take a photo of the problem. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So this is an extra field that I created in the case object that will allow you to store the photo of the case. So I'll go ahead and take a picture. And since I don't have a solar product nearby, this will be my example of a solar product. Then I'll click save. And then with that, I have finished logging a case. So this is just a nutshell of the questions you can have. Of course, you can have as many questions as you like to help you with the process of logging a case and in your case management system. So I'll mark this as complete. Then, because we're online, I'll go ahead and sync now. So as this syncs, I'm going to go back to Salesforce and go to our user. So the user is Isaac. So I'm going to search for Isaac. Okay, so as we wait for the job to sync, here we have the two jobs. So far I've demonstrated how to log a new case. Then after the case has been assigned, I will show you how to review and update the case. These first two are just clones of the bottom ones. Okay, so by now it should have synced. So I'm going to refresh the page. Okay, so on the contact default page, the default layout will be on related, and under related you will see cases. So I will click on the case that just synced right about now. So right now is 4:21 Nairobi time. Here there is a case that came at 4:20. So this is, assuming this is that case, we can verify in a minute. So here on the case, we can see the case has been created by the field officer. This is the update page for case. And also we can verify the image. This is the image that I have just taken. The size and dimensions of the image can be changed to fit the images that you captured based on the devices that you have, and also are the field users capturing with portrait or landscape. So we have information regarding the product. So the product is solar lamp, and the part is battery. So the status is new. So because this is a new case, the status has been automatically set to new, and I'll show you that as in the configuring of the form. So in Salesforce, cases are assigned based on the case owner field. Right now, you'll notice that the case owner is solar technician. And this has been automatically assigned based on the product. So the product, because the product is a solar product, it's automatically assigned to the solar technician. So as we go into configuring the job and form, I will show you how we did that. So right now, the case has been assigned to the technician. If you have email notification set up, the technicians will get a notification. Or maybe in your training, technicians need to sync every day to see if new cases have come up. And if you'd like a more advanced notification system like SMS, my colleague Erin has implemented one before in partnership with a partner, and she can talk about it later. So now I'll go ahead to log in as a technician. And the technician, as a technician, I'm going to use BlueStacks. So we do not recommend using BlueStacks for collecting actual data, but you can use it for presentation and for training. So in this BlueStack instance, I'm logged in as a solar technician. You can see that on the top right. So first thing I'm going to do is to sync. Okay, so successful sync. Now I can come to jobs. The job that I have here is the second job that I talked about, which is to review and update the case. So these are different, each persona has a different job. So for this job, I'll go click new and start the job. Again, I'm working on the Busia branch. So the customers appearing here, these are the customers with open cases. If a customer does not have an open case, they won't appear here. And I will show you that after we close the case for Isaac, for example. So I will go to Isaac, then I'll select the case. So the field that is representing the case is a date field, and then a case number. So the case number is an auto number that is automatically generated, and then the date field, this is today's date. So I'll go ahead and click on that. Then information regarding the case will appear here. So it can appear on the drill down hierarchy, and also you can decide to show it as well in the form, which I'll show you in a minute. So here we get the information that the field officer had logged. It said it's a problem, and the description is the solar lamp could keep 12 hours, now it barely keeps 5 minutes. So as a technician, I can be reviewing this maybe before I leave the office, and based on this information, I can decide which parts should I carry. So in this case, I can have a hunch, maybe the issue might be with the battery, so I can carry a spare battery just to go and test and see if that will work. We also have the image of the case photo, where if the technician clicks on that, it zooms out and they can see in detail the product, so that if there is anything is broken or there are any loose wires, they can tell beforehand. Okay, so I'll go to next. So we have the customer full name pulled down into the form. This is optional, similar to the case details. So they can either see it in the job drill down hierarchy, or you can also put a step further and also show them in the form, so that as they're updating the form, they can also see this information. So we have the case, which solar lamps stop working, and the type of case. So at this point, we assume the technician using the click to call feature earlier on using the map, they were able to locate the technician, they found the problem, and let's say they have fixed the issue. So they come to this page to fill in details of the case. So the case reason, what was the reason? Can say maybe this was a manufacturer defect. And then the comment, you can say the battery was faulty, for example. And then they can either update the status to be on hold or closed. So on hold, let's say maybe they came back with a spare battery and the problem was with wiring. So the technician needs another set of wiring. So the technician can put it on hold, then go back to the office, pick the wiring, and then come back and resolve the issue. In this case, we assume that it was the battery and the battery has resolved the issue. So we can go ahead and close. So if we close the case, you'll be taken to a page where the customer needs to verify the issue has been resolved via signature. So you hand over the phone or tablet to the customer and they sign, and then we can mark this as complete and then sync. Okay, so as this syncs, we can go to our case. So here is our case. And one thing that we can do as that syncs is we can refresh our dashboard to see if the new case has been recorded. Okay, so we see other cases have been added. So other cases had been created besides the one I have just created. So it has moved from 10 to 13. We can see the average time is also going down, and also we can see the solar technician has more cases on their side, and also cases by product for solar lamp has increased. So going back to the case, I'm going to refresh this page. Okay, so we can see the status of this case has closed before it was new. And if we look at the updates, we can see that the solar technician now took over from the field officer and closed this case. And the comment they left was the battery was faulty. So it can be the case the battery was faulty and replaced. On our left, we can see the signature confirming the customer has signed. So that's, in a nutshell, that's 2 easy jobs to set up your case management system. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to configure these jobs and forms. So taking you through how the demo, how to do it, but how do we configure it? So I'll start with the forms, and the first form I'll start with is the new case form. So I'm going to go to forms, and then I'm going to preview this form. So here I'm in the form for new case, preview this. Okay, so we are using the standard case object, and the standard case object comes with some required fields that I'm going to highlight. So because we are linking the case with contact, then we need a field for the contact reference ID. And for this, we're using the contact auto number ID. The reason why we're using contact auto number ID to reference the contact so that the case is linked to the contact is because if we use last name, we all know from implementation that we can have customers who have the same last name. So it's best practice to create an auto number field and mark it as an external ID and use that instead of a full name. However, you don't have to type it manually. So like in the demo, we did not type it manually, but we pulled it down from the drill down hierarchy, and I will show you that when we get to the job. So these are some of the required fields for case. So first one is status. Because this is a new case, what we have done is we have created dynamic operations to automatically set the status to new. So when I demoed, there was no place where I selected new. because what I've done in this case is I've made it by default. For any new case, mark it just as new, and then I've also hidden this question. The reason why I've hidden this question is also to save the field officer time, so that they have fewer questions to fill in. The other required field is case origin. So for case origin, I've done similar to question 3, where I've created dynamic operations and set the status to field for case origin. If in your case for field officers, maybe the case origin might be different values, you can, in Salesforce, you can go and add these other values and then have them here. And then instead of hiding this question and forcing a selection, you can let the field officer select the origin of the case. So maybe it can be a call or a site visit or a meeting. So you feel free to do that. And I'm happy to inform you the next session will be, the next deep dive will be on dynamic operations. So there we will go in depth on how do you create these JavaScript functions to force values or to do calculations or validations so that it can improve your data integrity and also minimize the amount of typing or clicking that your mobile users have to do. So the other fields in the standard case object are type of case, the case subject. I also used a cascading select question type for product and part. The reason why I use this is so that we have pre-selected, predefined products and parts. And also we want the parts that are being visible to be in line with the product. So when you select the solar product, so that you can see just solar parts and not, tank parts, for example. Then we have case description, which is a standard Salesforce field, and we added a photo of the problem because also a photo gives more color to what the issue might be. For the field mapping, we have 2 objects. So we have the contact and case. So contact is a reference object because we're just associating the case to the contact. And then here what we're mapping is the contact auto number ID that I mentioned earlier, and then basically mapping the rest of the questions as is. When we look at this job, so I clone this job so that we can view the task mapping. So when I click edit here, I can see that what we have in our drill down, in our case, we have a branch, and then we have our customers who are stored in the contact object. And then we have our task, which is to log a case. And in the task, the only thing that we are passing to the form is the contact auto number and the full name. So full name is optional. If you don't want, they can see the full name in the drill down hierarchy, but if you want them to see the full name in the form, then that's why we did this step. And then the auto number ID, this is important because that is what will link the case you're creating to this contact person. Then we'll go to the next form. So the next form is the updating case. So where you can update the case. So I will preview this form. And this is quite similar to the other forms. So I'll talk about the differences. So the different items in this form is now we have a new field for case reason, where now the technician can give reasons behind the case. So is it and these are examples where like manufacturer defect or customer handling or wear and tear, you can customize this and have your own case reasons. Then we have comments. So these are comments. Maybe you want to leave information about what was replaced or what was fixed or if it was fixed. And then we have the status. So the status here can be on hold or can be closed. And if it's closed, we have a skip logic that will show the customer signature question if you selected close so that the customer can verify this. For the field mapping, this also will be similar to the previous one. The only addition is Salesforce has an object called case comment. So we're going to add case comment, and this we're going to link to comments. So that is where the comments that the technician is making is going to be stored. Now for the job, when we come to the update or close job, the review and update job. So I'm going to click edit. Okay, so here one of the things you'll notice is when I was doing the creating a case job, I was able to see the photo of the customer, and to show the photo, what you need to do is you need to add the photo field, which is the URL field, the one that stores the link to the photo. You need to add it to the drill down hierarchy, as we've done here. And also, this is also where you're going to add the location. So the GPS location that you had captured for the customer, also you add it here. So when you add the household location here, you will get the prompt of viewing the record in a map. And then if you have maps.me installed, it's going to open in maps.me and you can locate the customer. Similarly, you also need to add the mobile phone field. For the mobile phone, there are the different considerations that are taken to highlight the phone number so that it doesn't highlight just any number. So we'll be sharing with you a link to our support site with more information. But some of the things it will look at before it highlights the number is a number starting with a 0 and has more than 4 digits, or is a number starting with a plus sign, or is a number starting with 3 digits and then there's a hyphen sign. So these are just some scenarios. There's a full list of in what scenario will the number show. So you can look at that. And in case you find that your number of the country operating is not listed there, just let us know, and we can help you look at it, set it up, or also we can add it into the next release. Then for the case here, we pass down the case information. One unique field I used in case is called a case drill down hierarchy. I created this, and this is basically a formula on the created date plus the case number. So here we have the case number, and then I also picked the date that the case was created, so that when you're looking at it in TeraWorks, you see the case number. So I'm just going to quickly show you how that looks like. So we can no longer see Isaac because Isaac now the case is closed. So here we only see the cases that are open. So when I was doing for Isaac, I had shown you how that appeared, where we had today's date and then we had the case number. Then here we have filter records. So the reason why Isaac is not appearing right now is because we have a filter in contact that the filter criteria is only show records where the number of open cases is greater than or equal to 1. So we only want to see contacts who have open cases. If they don't have open cases, we don't want them to be displayed on this page. And then we also have another filter that we also do not want to see closed cases. We only want to see cases that are either open or they're on hold. So these are the drill down filters that help us and also help the technicians to see what are the pending tasks that they're supposed to do. Then for the target, there are other fields that appear on the form. So case number, type of case, subject, and the description. So in between creating a case and reviewing and updating the case, there is the case assignment. So as I mentioned before, case assignment is done via the case owner field. And for this demo, we set up a simple automatic rule to assign cases based on the product. So to do this in setup, if it's your first time doing it, first thing you need to do is go to support settings. And in support setting, what you're supposed to do is to set the default case owner. And the reason for this is if an assignment rule does not meet any criteria, you want it to be assigned to a default case owner. So for example, if we have a case and the product is a water filter, for example, and we don't have an assignment rule for a water filter, then the case will be assigned to the administrator in that case. So once you set the default case owner, now you can set up the case assignment rule. This is also done in setup and in quick find. So here you'll find the case assignment rules. The required field is here. What is the order, or what is the sorting order that you'd like? So for us, we just did a simple rule where we wanted the criteria. If the product equals to solar lamp, we want to assign that case to a partner user. So all our mobile users are partner users, and our partner user is the solar technician. So it's as simple as that, where you set the criteria and then you set who do you want this to be assigned to. The assignment for the tank specialist will also be the same. So here, instead of hiring solar lamp, we will change this value to tank, and then you click save. So once you click save, then you can activate the case assignment. And once it's activated, anytime a case comes in, it's reviewed based on the criteria you set, and that is automatically assigned. So in a nutshell, that is how you configure case management system with TeraWorks and Salesforce. I see I'm almost running out of time, so I'm going to stop there. We're going to share with you this deck, and at the end of the deck we have some resources that you can enhance your case management knowledge. But I think before we do that, I just want to make sure if there are any burning questions, we can attend to them, and then I can proceed.
Yes, we do have a few questions. So the first one, when I have photos in my drill down hierarchy, how much space does that take up on my device?
Great question. So with our latest release, 6.0.3, which it's available for upgrade right now, you can determine the size of the images that are being synced with your TeraWorks device. And how to do that, this is done in the application setting tab. So you have, in a nutshell, you have control of the size of image that you want to be synced in your instance. The images that are being synced from now Salesforce to your device, this will be determined by how much storage that device has, because the images will occupy storage. The images are usually quite small, but also the device has other things, and that will limit the number of images that can be synced. But here on application settings is where you set the image size that you'd like TeraWorks to be collecting and syncing to Salesforce. I hope that answered the question.
Great. So if you guys have outstanding questions after they're addressed, just go ahead and raise your hand or retype it into the chat. So I'll assume that's been answered. The next question, what was the contact ANID field? So I think we answered that part of the question after the question was asked. The second part is, I don't believe I have this in my org on my contact object.
Okay, so the contact ANID is an auto number field. So this one, I created this custom field for this demo, and I'm just going to quickly show you how to do that. So in Object Manager and under Contacts, so you'll come to Contacts, and again, the reason why we're doing this is because we cannot use the last name as a reference ID. We don't want to use the last name as a reference ID because we know customers can have similar last names. So to mitigate that, what we do is we create a new field, and this new field is going to be an auto number field. So auto number field, and then so you'll put a label. So in our case, I put I can put customer auto ID, and then you can decide to have a display format or not. It's important to generate auto numbers for existing records so that existing contacts can also have numbers. And then also to mark it as a reference field, we need to set this external ID checkmark box. So once you do that, you click next and go set permissions for that field. Let's make sure the Terarox partner users, the mobile users, can access that field, and then you can use it in referencing. And this ensures that the contact selected is unique, as opposed to if we use the last name, and in my case, I selected Castro. If there's another Castro last name, then Terarox won't be sure which Castro to link the case created to.
Okay, great. Next question, how much does Maps.me cost?
Great question. Maps.me is free, so it's a free offline tool. So it's free to use.
Okay, great. Last one that I have. So everybody, if you have any further questions or anything you'd like to discuss, go ahead and throw that in the chat. The last one, is it possible to disable the ability to upload images locally?
So right now, it is not possible, but we do have that feature request that the product team is currently evaluating. So your customer success manager should be able to be giving you updates where that is in the product roadmap. But it's something we've had before, and our product team is researching and working on it. And as soon as it's ready for testing, we'll reach out to you. So if you haven't raised it before with your account manager, just let them know so that they can also update internally as one of those people to be reached out for testing and when it rolls out.
Yep, definitely. And that goes for that feature request or any other feature requests or ideas you guys are seeing as you're using the product. Please always share those with your account manager because those guide our product roadmap. Okay, so if nobody has any other questions, Roger, did you have anything else you needed to share?
No, I think, yeah, that's it. We, at the end of the deck that you'll get, the handout, we have more information regarding some of the features that we've gone through, how to use images, the click to call, drawdown hierarchy feature, and on the Salesforce side, how to set up the case assignment automation rules, and if you'd like to set up email notifications as well, we're happy to set up those those resources as well. But other than that, I can't wait to hear what you guys are planning on implementing with case management, and looking forward. Maybe you guys can also host a webinar on how you're using case management with Terarox and Salesforce. So that's it from here.
We are getting a couple more questions now. Yeah.
Okay.
So the first one from Omowumi, how do you create the dashboard for the follow-up on the case reported?
How do you create a dashboard for follow-up on the case reported?
And if you can go full screen, Roger, I think it'll be a little easier to see.
So I'm trying to, if I understand the question correctly, what we want is we want to see if there's a follow-up to be done. We want to be able to see that on a dashboard. So one field that indicates if a follow-up needs to be done is the status field in case, and that field will be on hold, because on hold, this means the case has been created, then a technician reviewed this case, but they were not able to resolve the case. So that means follow-up needs to be done. So what we can do, we can have a separate chart just to show what are the number of cases that need follow-up, and there the filter will be to show cases that are on hold. And it can be broken down by product or by technician. And if you click further on that chart, it should be able to show you those cases that need follow-up. Does that answer your question?
So just let us know if that fully answered the question, if you want to dig into that a bit more. Also, like if you guys are giving this a try in your own orgs and you run into trouble or questions, you can also always reach out, specifically about your scenario at support@terraworks.org with your free support hour a month. Okay, yeah, that did answer the question. Okay, next question. Great webinar, Roger. Interested in viewing customers on maps. Also, can we get a step-by-step guide? This actually was omitted as a reference. I'm going to throw it in the chat now. It is on our support site for viewing maps on mobile devices. But Roger, I don't know if you want to elaborate a bit on that as well. So she's interested in viewing customers on maps.
Yeah, great question. So you can see customers on map on either Salesforce and either on TerraWorks. So the example that I had shown on my device was if you wanted to see the customers on TerraWorks, and to do that, as Erin shared, we have the step-by-step guides on how to do that. But it's actually quite simple. What you need to do for the job is to make sure the geolocation. So in my case, the geolocation is stored in household. In household. So make sure this where the geolocation is being stored has been added to the drill-down hierarchy. So once you do that for your records, when you open TerraWorks, you should be able to see. So here in my TerraWorks, I'm able to see view all records on map. And then what this does, it will open maps.me, and then maps.me will be able to show you the location of the different records that are displayed on that page. So in my case, because I had selected these records based on using BlueStacks earlier, it only shows the same location, but this would have shown you as dots the different location of your customers or records. So this is on mobile. You can also have the same on Salesforce. So in the TerraWorks app, there's maps. There's a map link there as well. And this map link, you can load a report. The report will need to have your customer records and the geolocation fields, and you can load it on this page and it will display for you. So right now I don't have one. I didn't set up one for this demo, but I will share with you the links as part of this, as part of the handouts from this webinar that will give you step-by-steps on how you can load them up. That will give you a visual representation of where your customers are.
And just to add to the previous question as well, I'm sharing in the chat a Trailhead for reports and dashboards. So if anyone hasn't done a Salesforce Trailhead before, it's an excellent learning tool that's free and it's online. You can also collect badges associated with your profile to kind of track your progress and your accomplishments with your Salesforce knowledge. So I added a link to the one on reports and dashboards. Basically, it's a tutorial on it, and you actually go live into an org, and for some of them, Salesforce is checking your work and making sure you understand the concepts. So those are really useful. Also, with respect to the Salesforce side of doing TerraWorks maps, I'm also posting into the chat the maps section in our user guide that has the instructions to both displaying maps in Salesforce and on the mobile side as well. I think a couple things to note for offline maps on mobile. To be offline and render those maps, you do need to download those maps locally. So it's actually two steps. One is you need to have maps.me installed, so you can download that from the Play Store. It's at no cost. And then additionally, if your mobile users are always working in a certain area, a certain country, they can download those maps locally. This is the difference between maps.me and just using Google Maps. That's how you're able to use those maps offline. And then you can either view all of the records in a Jolene hierarchy on a map offline, or just an individual record as well. Okay, Maps has been available, and so the next question is, what version was Maps made available in? It has been out for a while. I assume the question is about Maps on mobile. It's been available since 4.0. All right. Another question, can we get a step-by-step guide on how to set up case management? So we are going to share this recording. I think at the end of the PowerPoint presentation, there's going to be some references as well. So those would be good tools. But if you have specific questions, you can also reach out to support@terraworks.org if you're having trouble emulating what we demoed today. Any other question? Okay. On Salesforce. So so the question was actually which version was Maps available on TerraWorks? I believe it was actually an earlier version than that. So as a part of the upgrade process, adding the Maps tab was an upgrade step. So if you're not seeing the Maps tab and you're on a current version of TerraWorks, just reach out to support@terraworks.org. We can help you get that tab added to your to whichever app you would like. But it should be in the TerraWorks app. You should have a Maps tab just like Roger's displaying now, but that was an upgrade step when that feature was released. So you would just go to setup and you're managing the TerraWorks application and adding that application to the view, or excuse me, adding that tab to the view. Any other questions? All right, looks like that answered the question. And actually, I'll go ahead and share as well. These are the steps on how to add, remove, and organize tabs in your Salesforce app. I'm not sure if you're on Classic or Lightning. But you can just reach out if you're having any trouble as well. All right, great. Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much for, thank you, Roger, very much for the presentation. Thank you, everyone, for your the interactive session. If you guys have any other ideas on topics you'd like to see these feature deep dives on, please let your account manager know, or you can also shoot those ideas to support@terraworks.org. There's nothing else. I think that is it for today. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.